everybody, and welcome back to a new season of Friday Night Spotlight. This time we are brought to you by 911 Air Repair, your local air conditioning experts specializing in maintenance, repair, and new installations. Kicking off our week, we are pretty slim on games right now. It's just the 2A and 3A conference kicking off this week, and on top of that, a couple of our teams are taking that first week bye. So that means our first game of the week is going to be out in Queen Creek. We are talking about American Leadership Academy Ironwood, and they are going to be hosting Morenci. Now, interesting thing here about these two teams is both of them are under a new head coach this year. Morenci is making the jump up from 2A to 3A, and they are under a former Pinal County legend, we can call him already, because he did lead Santa Cruz Valley to a state championship in the 2A conference back in 2020. We are talking about Rashard Davis. He has returned from Alabama, and he's taking over Morenci. And then on ALA Ironwood's side, it is Lauren Dawson. Well, it's been a while since he's coached high school. He's kind of familiar with the scene here in Arizona, coached in high school, and then went off to coach in Phoenix College. But he is a Casa Grande product. He grew up here in town and graduated from CG Union, played for the Cougars under John Kashner. So pretty neat game here for us. David, as far as actual, players and everything goes, what are we kind of expecting in this game?
Well, you kind of stole my thunder a little bit because I was going to talk about the interesting dynamics between these two head coaches, former Pinal County coaches and player with both these coaches. And ALA Ironwood, it's kind of a new chapter for them this year. I know you mentioned it in your season preview that's on PinalCentral.com now. These guys are a new group with some returners as well, but a lot of guys that are going to have to prove themselves in new situations and new roles. This is a team that lost Connor Maltz to graduation. He was a solid senior for them last year at the quarterback position, but it's a new identity for this team that is going to have to try and finally get over that hump. We've always seen this ALA Ironwood team come out and look fairly strong, but just otherwise not being able to really deliver. This team went 2-7 last year with a lot of potential on this team, but just didn't really happen for them last year. But maybe Dawson can come in and start rebuilding that culture of this team. And Ironwood is a very proud school with a very proud athletics program. The Ryan McCurdy out there, who was the former basketball coach, is now the AD, solely the AD, and he has definitely made it a thing where he wants his school to be known as a sports school and have a really solid sports culture. And Dawson can help that as well. And guys like Aiden Williams are going to be huge for this team this year. He was their leading rusher last year as a junior, 827 yards and 11 touchdowns. So it's definitely going to be his team so far. And then when it comes to Morenci on the other side, this is really a tough matchup for your first week if you're ALA Ironwood, because Morenci is fresh off a 2A state championship appearance. They were the runners-up last year, and now they moved, like Maria said, to 2A to 3A. And one thing that we know about Rashard Davis is that he loves to run the ball, and I expect the exact same thing with this Morenci team. He is going to let his running backs run wild in this entire game, and it's going to take the Warriors a serious effort to stop that run game for this team and try to continue to implement what they're trying to do defensively as well as offensively with the new pieces and with this new coach. I'm not expecting Ironwood to be able to get a win in this one. I'm going to take Morenci, but I still expect some good things from this Warriors, and I'm hoping now that they can, have this new leadership and instill some good wins in this team.
I agree with David on this one. Now, he mentioned Davis and his run game. Looking at Morenci the past 2 years, they were the state runner-ups twice, back-to-back years into a big reason for that is Michael Casillas. He is a senior this year. Last year, he led the team with 1,936 rushing yards and 32 touchdowns, and that was just in 2A without Rashard Davis as his head coach. So now, grouping these two guys, having them team up together, Morenci is going to be a very tough opponent for anybody in 3A, and unfortunately for ALA Ironwood, this is our first opponent of the season, but like David mentioned, this is just going to be a building block for them, just what can they work on and how can they get better as the season goes on, which is what Dawson said, is their goal throughout the season, just to get better every single day. And now jumping over to our picks portion of the show, we are bringing this back because I believe David is trying to make a comeback this year.
I let everybody down last year. I really let everybody down, and it was unfortunate, but this year I'm coming back strong, and I'm going to start with my picks that I'm bringing up. I'm going to be talking about Santan Foothills right now. They're going up to El Mirage to face the Dysart High School team, and, Foothills was kind of the Cinderella story of last year's football squads in Pinal County. We had a lot of surprising teams last year, and I think Foothills is at the top of that list. They went 7-3 last year, made their first playoff appearance, and I believe since 2015 or 2016, 2017. This team is just really solid, and I think it all starts with, honestly, their head coach, Mike Carlin. He's come into this program, and he's made it a staple that he wants to have stability with this team and wants to have a set foundation, a set core, and continue just to have some, actual stability at the coaching level. Because before Carlin came in, it would just seem like a carousel of guys coming in for just 1 year and just being one and done with this team. But Carlin said he's here to stay, and it showed what that stability can do for a team. They were able to really kind of, turn this situation around, and this team is no different. On paper, this is a winnable game for the SaberCats against Dysart. They went 5-5 last year, and this team is definitely going to have to rely on some new talent. They lost a lot of seniors this last year. Roy Kimball Martin is gone. Bo Cotherman is gone. A trio of running backs that were really solid for them are all gone this year, and one of the big things that Carlin is implementing in this year is elevating the passing game a little bit more. They didn't really need it last year because they had such a good run offense, but now the passing game is going to have a lot more time to shine. Their quarterback, Dalton Norman, was just a sophomore last year. Didn't really get a lot of chances to throw the ball and show off what he can do with his arm, but this year he's definitely proving himself and being able to be that quarterback who can both be a dual threat and also throw the ball as well. So I expect big things from Dalton Norman, and I'm going to take Foothills. I really like this team since last year, and I think there's a lot of good things still coming for this team. And even though Carlin also says that he's realistic that everyone is going to doubt Santan Foothills, I don't doubt them. I really like them, and I like what they're doing out there. I expect them to pull out a win on Friday night.
All right, and my game to watch is Tucson, Sabino, and Coolidge. Now, this is a repeat of last year's season opener for these two teams, and I'm kind of expecting something similar. While Sabino did blow out Coolidge last year, I don't think it might be that bad for Coolidge, but I think Coolidge is going to be on the short end here. A big reason for that is a lot of new guys for them. Although they did struggle mightily on offense last year, I believe this is the turnaround season for the Bears. They are going to be led by Gavin Gunter at quarterback, and returning for them for running the ball is Maurice Glass and Javante Wall. These two guys combined for 8 touchdowns. So bright side here is they have some stability already at the running game. It's just a matter of putting all the pieces together. Looking at Sabino, however, this team is completely stacked wherever you do look at them. Quarterback Cameron Hackworth threw over 2,700 yards last year, 31 touchdowns, just 7 interceptions, and his go-to guys, a pair of brothers in the Berry Hills, Savon and Shamir, both of them had over 900 receiving yards and combined for 26 touchdowns. So this is just going to be tough, not just for the Bears, but I think overall Sabino is a team to watch in the 3A conference, but like I mentioned it with ALA Ironwood, a good challenge for the Bears to start the season off and just kind of work their way up from here, David, anything else you want to add overall?
Stick around with this for the entire year because, I know we'd only have 4 or 5 games going on with Pinal County teams this first week, but it's still football nonetheless. It's still week 1. Friday Night Lights are back in Pinal County. We have a lot of expectations for a lot of our schools here, and we hope that they can all perform well and continue on with this season. It's going to be a great year.
All right, and that does it for this episode of Friday Night Spotlight. As David mentioned, be sure to check out Pinal Central for all of your local sports coverage.